Hello and welcome to the Full Force Weekly, proudly brought to you by Battle Action Force, the Treasury Editions. I am your host, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. In this episode, I bring you all the news from the past week in the world of G.I. Joe. So what is it, me? It's the Full Force Weekly. How is everyone doing? Hope you're having a good Saturday so far, this 3 p.m. Eastern afternoon. How's everyone doing? All good? Brilliant. Lots to get stuck into for this weekly. Loads of comics news, which is always cool. Of course, we had lots of stuff through the week as well regarding pre-orders for Short-Fuze and Steeler, and the Police ESU figure dropped finally, and yeah, all that stuff. And then obviously sightings of new product just around the corner, as if we're not like drowning in classified merch already. Hello everyone in the chat, lots of you here. Jeffrey says, just wondering, does Target still do that ghost charging you every month till the pre-order comes? I've never ever experienced that. I'm not sure what that is. That could just be I mean, that sounds like something that other people may have struggled with over the years of Target exclusives. You'll have to let us know in the comments if anyone else has had that issue, but yeah, I've never had that. Yeah, hello to everyone, and loads of you already on the show. So let's get stuck in, shall we? We'll start as we mean to go on, but we'll start with comics news. Gil says, yes, Target does charge you constantly until it is ready to ship. That's weird. What, do they just keep charging you and multiple charges, or what? Like, what's the actual deal? Do they have to refund you every single time? Matt says, yes, that unless you have a Target card, they reauthorize the charge whenever they want. It's weird. Or Striker turned up yesterday, said Simon. Oh, very, very, what's the word? Jealous of you in that regard. Rexship says Target does a pre-authorization test charge until it ships. I guess, is that just to make sure everything is still working, like when it actually comes to taking the money off you? Hold, not an actual charge. Thank you, Matt. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Good. It's always good to be very clear on that one. When people are saying charged, that means something very different. So yeah, kind of like an hold, basically. Yeah, interesting as well. Yeah, we'll get into the comics first though. But yeah, there was an interesting like price discrepancy between Pulse and Target, which we will get into later, have no fear. But we're starting with comics. We've got variant covers for a 321. We've got issue 11, which was out this week. We've got first looks at Shooter in Night Force. We've got a first look at the December solicit covers for issues 15 and 16 of the G.I. Joe Energon universe. And Battle Action Force has been nominated for awards, thanks to I should imagine thanks to all of you guys who voted to get Battle Action Force nominated for some comic scene awards. So very exciting, and you can actually vote for them. I already voted. Obviously, you know what I voted for there. But we'll start with New Comic Book Day and G.I. Joe issue 11, which dropped, as I said, this week on Wednesday. Now, this obviously continues the storyline that Major Blood has got Baroness, CoverGirl, kind of like in this pit. Now, they lured him into this, like he was basically having them fight it out, and basically saying to CoverGirl, if she takes one of Baroness's eyes, like an eye for an eye sort of situation, because the Baroness obviously shot Blood in the eye earlier in this particular run, that she would get to, they'd release her and she'd go free and all that kind of stuff. In the end, CoverGirl and the Baroness did sort of like a fake fight, or very realistic one, obviously, but one that lured Major Blood into the pit to check on, I think, the death of CoverGirl. She wasn't dead. And then she escapes to stop Raptor, who is currently kind of like monitoring the Baroness's parents, unawares to them, of course. And Major Blood now is lured into this pit. He's not near his walkie-talkie, so he can tell Raptor to obliterate her parents. And the Baroness and Major Blood are fighting it out. Now, what happens, and this is a little bit of a what's the word? A spoiler, of course. But and I will obviously, I'm talking about this issue, so if you haven't read it yet, close your ears. But in this particular issue, they fight it out, and you're kind of expecting, for the most part, something to happen that you don't really know what's going to happen, but you whatever. And then at some point during the fight, Baroness is like in this position with Blood, where he's about to take her eye, and she manages to do a move, grab another knife that's near them, and stab him in the other eye. So he is now fully blinded, Major Blood, Major Blind now. What I find interesting about this is, they kind of went to such lengths to make sure Major Blood was kind of set up to be Major Blood with one eye, you know, Mars arm, what have you. And now he's probably completely taken out, unless there's going to be some other thing where, I don't know, like, I don't know, maybe like Cobra La come into play here and grow him another eye or something. I don't know. I don't know. Mark just said, "Hey Chris, just jumping on here following our deep dive into issue 11. Yeah, go check out Talking Joe as well after this episode. If you didn't see it live, they did a stream where they went into this issue in great detail. But yeah, I just found it quite interesting that they would set Major Blood up to be Major Blood, and then almost the next appearance of him, he's kind of taken out completely. Matthew thinks cybernetic eye. 77T John thinks Cybertronian eye. I think there's a possibility for all these things to actually happen. I don't think, because he's not dead, so I still think as a character, there's more to. I think there's more to. There's more to come from Blood, or I feel like there should be more to come from Blood. I don't think he should be kind of taken out this early. So yeah, we'll see how that kind of plays out. Yeah. So, and anyway, and also in the same breath, CoverGirl stopped Raptor from taking out Baroness's parents, and they end up back at the pit, where Duke is sort of like unawares to what's been going on, which I find quite odd. You'd think you'd think he would be keeping tabs. I know he sent CoverGirl there with Baroness, but they end up kind of becoming really buddy and close, CoverGirl and Baroness, over this incident. Yeah. New York Night 1974 says more to Major Blood, more than meets the eye. Indeed. Mars Optics, says Felix. Yes, it's a possibility, isn't it, that he could just get some sort of like cybernetic eye, because that's really easy. There will be more blood, says Blitz. Yes. Maybe the bird Decepticon, forget the name, sitting on Megatron's shoulder as his eyes can just do that for Major Blood. That being Laserbeak, Wreck Ship 85, I believe you're referring to, from one of the Transformers issues in the Energon universe. Blood didn't get enough love in the 80s. Glad to just see him again. Now he's a blind master, indeed, yeah. He has those new meta glasses, says Diana. Yes, absolutely. Now, that is issue 11, which is like out now, like I said before, so you can go check that out if you haven't already. If you've got it on your pull list and you've stopped listening to the spoilers, but you're back now, go check it out. It's a good issue. It's a fun little sort of like side sub story. Also during the issue, you see Risk and Clutch getting into it with Mercer and the Vipers. Of course, Hound shows himself. Risk had followed Clutch to the Mars facility, the abandoned Mars facility, and thought Clutch was doing something on the on the down low, and was kind of like confronting him about it. And then Clutch was trying to say, "Low, it's not what you think." And then they got kind of jumped by Mercer and a bunch of Vipers, and then in turn, Hound is behind them, and there's a big shootout, and Hound takes him out. Mercer gets, like, I think, knocked out. I can't remember now exactly, but yeah, Risk and Clutch and Hound just escape back to the pit. So they all kind of come back to the pit around the same time, which is quite funny. Anyway, that's it for issue 11 even. We're also going to be talking in a little while about some what they called solicits for December. But moving into this beautiful variant cover, I've got to just got to get the info up just to make sure I'm saying the right things. But this is one hell of a variant cover for issue 321, featuring obviously Snake Eyes and Timber by B. Baron's illustration. So this is an Underdog comic shop exclusive for issue 321. It's a silent, obviously this is the silent, it's another silent issue 321 because of the 21 aspect, I guess. Limited to 700 copies, available for pre-order Wednesday, September 17th, which was 3 days ago. I'm not sure if you can still get it at Underdog comic shop, but yeah, so I don't know if that's still available or not. You'll have to check that out. But yes, B. Baron's illustration, really, really beautiful cover as well. Very classified Snake Eyes, I would say, but a really nice kind of cover, and one that I wouldn't mind having, honestly, for issue 321. That said, that's a little bit more news in the comics world, but there's loads more. So issue 12 of G.I. Joe, we've got a preview for it, of course, and this is all Night Force related. So effectively, this is going to be where Shooter joins the Night Force. Shooter being an operative who is, I think, caught or like imprisoned in Darklonia, as I believe it's said. And we basically see at the beginning of this particular preview, Duke is kind of confronting Hawk regarding like ops that he's not aware of. So like there's this thing that he's kind of like saying, like, you know, do you need to tell me something, sort of thing. And Hawk eventually is like, oh no, nothing's happening without your knowledge at G.I. Joe. And then it swings over to this Darklonian Grenadier labor camp where Beachhead, Jay, and Flint are basically keeping an eye on the facility or the building that Shooter is kept hostage in. Oh, sorry, is kept prisoner in. So again, this is what I'm really excited for, because one, obviously, Shooter is a character we haven't really had a lot of media for. Obviously, the whole story started when obviously Jim Shooter was homaged in the first issue of the Marvel G.I. Joe comic. On the screen that's listing all of the G.I. Joe operatives, one of them is called Shooter, but you can't see the face. I think a lot of people assumed it was a male because of Jim Shooter's homage, of course, the name. Also, like the image on the screen, you can see some of it. It's not completely covered, but it doesn't. Yeah, obviously it's ambiguous enough that they could go any direction with it. And then later on in the kind of run of comics, I think it was it one of the declassified issues? I want to say it was G.I. Joe Declassified. One of those kind of like sub issue, kind of like, what are they called? You know, kind of like side, what are they called? Spin-offs. Sort of like a spin-off series of Joe Declassified, and Shooter was kind of like a flashback sort of story, and revealed that Shooter was in fact female. And that particular figure was made as well, but in like not like the one that was in Declassified. And obviously she was like in greens in that, but then obviously the figure that came out was all black in a Special Forces 3-pack with Outback and Falcon for the 4-inch line. So we, again, like the character was effectively killed off early on, and then the figure was made sort of like as a to make a figure of a character that we hadn't had before. So that was kind of, it's interesting, but it's also, it just kind of like puts a full stop on it completely, and you can't really go anywhere with it. So what I like about Skybound are doing is they're taking the Shooter from Classified, which of course we got courtesy of Lenny and the team a couple of years back. for the Night Force. She's not behind me anymore. She's over there. And yeah, kind of like redesigned her a little bit, kind of pushed the design away from what we'd kind of seen previously, and put her in Night Force sort of togs as well. So, with that said, Skybound have taken that design and are using the character in this Energon universe, and I'm really happy about this because it means it unlocks this character for a little bit more development. Yes, it's not the same continuity as a Real American Hero, but we have a Real American Hero that's happening and it's going on, and you know that's not going to change. But to have this sort of like alternate sort of continuity, which is very good, well written, fantastic art, loads of really good stuff going on. Then yeah, I'm kind of happy to see some development in Shooter. Also, as well as the couple of pages of previews, we got a bunch of the covers revealed as well. So cover A by Tom Riley. I've talked through these already because these covers have been out for a while and we've talked about them in detail. My favorite ones being Andrea Milana's cover B, which is really awesome, and cover C by Kyle and New. That is a really nice cover. I love those ones. Again, I've said it before, but I love the ones that are on the desk with the files and the pictures, and it's like it's almost like a snapshot of a briefing, or a you're in a safe house ready to go onto the mission, and you just got the files and you're getting ready, and you got like the grenade out there because you're gearing up as well. I like it. It's like it puts you in sort of like a, it tells a story, bit of a narrative in there with very little else going on, which is really cool. And of course, cover D by Steve Epting, which is a Flint on explosion background, which is nice. And this is the final one, cover E by David Finch, Sandra Hope, and Adriano Lucas, which shows the current, I guess, Night Force team all together. There you go, Jay, Shooter, Beachhead, and Flint. And I'm sure that team will expand over the the issues and what have you. But this is a nice little sort of side mission within the Energon universe for GI Joe to enjoy and focus on a few different characters, which is really awesome. So yeah, so many covers for this series indeed, Couch Boy. But you could say that about any GI Joe comic recently. I mean, I wouldn't say it started with Dead Game, but it certainly went up a notch, didn't it? With those Snake Eyes Dead Game covers from Rob Liefeld. Oh my god, not just Rob Liefeld, obviously, but the series was by Rob Liefeld. But wasn't it like 50 covers or something like that for issue 1? It was something crazy. Mark, you'll remember what it was. I think I've misremembered, but you can tell me in the comments what the actual number was. Now, as well as a preview for issue 12, we've got solicitations for issue 15 and a bunch of covers as well. So let's go through that and all. Now, the solicits, lots of information to get through here. So issue 15, Joshua Williamson as the writer, and of course Tom Riley and Geordie Belair on art. So cover A that we're looking at here is Tom Riley, and the cover B is Eric Canete. I've probably pronounced that incorrectly. But let's just take you through the bits of information you need. So this will be the 3rd of December. This one comes out. Who will survive the Dreadnought War? Duke and Cobra Commander are confronted by an enemy they never expected, but the Dreadnoughts aren't far behind. The twice monthly G.I. Joe epic continues right here. And like I said, this is Tom Riley and Eric Canete that we're looking at the moment on screen. Again, really good covers. You've got Duke in kind of getting his arse handed to him by Ripper and Buzzer in the reflection of Cobra Commander's messed up helmet, with blood coming from it as well to kind of insinuate something really bad's happening there. And then if you look at the other one, we've got Buzzer cutting through the page. It's a really good idea, this, with his chainsaw, and effectively splitting Duke and Cobra Commander apart, which is really cool. Yeah, nice cover, that one. Very, I suppose, like very visceral. And then we have Zorana by Ben Oliver. Yeah, she's not looking happy there, is she? Like, she's just been in a fight. And we also have cover D by Jesus Marino and Adriano Lucas, which is Torch. of course. No movie news so far as far as I'm aware. Yeah, it's kind of gone really quiet on that front. There was some recent bit of movie news that popped out, but that it kind of like dissipated a little bit. Anyway, it always kind of does with the movie stuff, and then all of a sudden they're in like hard development. They're like setting up like the first units to go out and see like you know establishing shots and like shooting locations and stuff like that. Mark says Torch has a spangly jacket. He does, and spangly knee pads. He's gone proper spangly, hasn't he? Um, yeah, it's an interesting take on Torch, but again, like a good one too. And again, that kind of explosion background series by Jesus Marino and Adriano Lucas is kind of filling out a little bit now, isn't it? Because we've got quite a few of those, and of course we have this issue cover E, which has not been revealed yet, and this is by John Boy Myers. Now, this obviously contains a spoiler on the cover, whether it's a character that hasn't been seen in the series yet, that's going to be introduced in this particular issue, or some sort of story beat. Whether it could be someone could be like, I don't know, someone could be dead. I don't know. It could be one of those situations, or out of the game. I don't know, but at the moment it's a spoiler and we don't know what it's going to be yet. I do follow John Boy Myers on socials, and he has in the past posted images of covers that he's working on that have unlocked spoilers. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one and see if there's anything out there. Mark, have you seen anything, and seeing as you're in the chat right now, regarding the spoiler? You don't have to say obviously what it is, but if you've seen it, that'd be great to know. And then of course we have solicitations for 16 as well. Now, same team: Joshua Williamson as writer, Tom Riley and Geordie Belair are the artists for the interiors. And this is going to be the 17th of December. It's the final battle of the Dreadnoks. Sorry, the final battle of the Dreadnought War begins. This is the penultimate issue, though. So G.I. Joe and Cobra are on a collision course with the Dreadnoks, and whatever remains of Duke and Cobra Commander, the penultimate chapter of the twice monthly G.I. Joe epic is here. So yeah, again, not getting into too many spoilers there. But this is effectively the fourth part of 5, which of course will then, I suppose, switch out of the Dreadnought War and go into another different arc. Yeah, Chris G thinks it's Road Pig as the spoiler. Figure Six Pack says spoiler, it's a blank page. That'd be hilarious. Disco Torch says Simon. Dreadnoks the musical, says Talking Joe. Couchboy says Talking Joe jinx on Dreadnoks musical film. Amazing. Right then, so on this particular cover, these particular covers, I should say, we've got Tom Riley on cover A here with the sort of Mad Max inspired Duke and Cobra Commander. They've only been in the desert for 10 minutes, and they already look like that. But yeah, Tom Riley on the cover there with, again, like I said, very Mad Max vibes. I'm sure we'll get someone in the comments saying we need these in classified. I don't know if we do, but we've sort of had these in figure form in similar ways in the past. Do you remember that Storm Shadow from the movie, which had like all ripped clothes and all that kind of stuff? And we've had, and I guess like that Zartan that was a bit raptorish reminds me of that. But yeah, I can't think of any other figures that fit that bill, but you know what I mean. Mark says, I don't have any idea on this spoiler. No worries. That's all good. That means we're all going to find out at the same time, hopefully. So that is the Tom Riley cover. And then on the right-hand side, we have the Tonchi Zonjic. I've completely ruined that. Tonchi Zonjic, maybe. Zonjic? It might be Zonjic. Tonchi Zonjic, I'm going to say, and I could be completely wrong, but that is cover B and features Hound literally picking up a Jeep, which is quite fun, and Clutch working on his Grundle, it looks like. It's a fun cover. And again, Hound is well and truly like part of G.I. Joe issues at the moment. So it's fun to have this sort of like buddy thing going on with him and Clutch at the moment. I wonder if they end up being I mean, obviously their storyline is going to continue, but whether it's going to be directly within the Dreadnought War, if it's going to be sort of like a side story kind of going on, we'll have to wait and see. Duke's going to have one hell of a sunburn. Blonde guys go straight to lobster in the sun. They do. Check Cobra Commander's veins. He's a hot mess. He really is. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely Spores activity. Yeah, the Diana says. Good covers though. I like these. Then we have Ben Oliver again for cover C. So he's doing the close up face kind of portraits. He did the previously the one we looked at of Zorana, and now we've got Buzzer, who is gurning the most incredible face here at the moment. I think this is an inaccurate image of Buzzer though, because his goggles are staying on. Anyway, it's a nice one, but these are really cool. These are very, very realistic, kind of like they're, very detailed in like every little pore and everything and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm quite into those kind of like those covers. And again, quite cool when you get all of them together and have like all of the Dreadnoks lined up. Is that 12? Says Couch Boy. No, this is 16. This is solicitations for issue 16. And then we have Ripper on the other one. Now, this is the kind of skybound interpretation of Ripper, not the classified, not any previous kind of in interpretations. He may have looked something like this back in like that new sculpt era. I can't think off the top of my head though. Let me just have a look if there are any sort of similar looking Rippers. Is Ripper in Cobra Gear a spoiler? Only if you haven't read the last 7 issues, Cal. He's been wearing this costume, this uniform, for a long time. So he hasn't really looked like that at any point, has he? Closest we've come is to the color, really, is that version 2 in 2002. But he had a green cap. He had like a great, it's nowhere near the same sort of design. Anyway, I knew he'd had like a little kind of redesign at some point, but it looks nothing like that. Yeah, he's effectively wearing a Viper uniform, but sort of changed a little bit. New York Night 1974 says, so are we going to get Sea Spray, Whale, and Triple T Cup and Sarge at some point? I hope so. I wonder if the Sarge is an issue for Skybound because of rights and what have you. I bet there's a license issue there. But again, that might be one of those things where they do like a big deal, like they make a big deal out of it, like the Sarge is going to be coming in, and it's they make it like a short run or like a little spin-off that is then they can kind of keep the license like fee short. I don't know. I don't know how that would work. They would obviously have to get in contact with the Sarge, wouldn't they? And then that costs money. So maybe they do in the future. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Ripper has been in Cobra Gear since issue 1 or so. He joined Cobra Commander at the end of Cobra Commander issue 5. Yes, thank you, Mark. Whereas the rest of the Dreadnoks were left behind in the swamp. Yes. Yeah. Diana can ask. Thank you, Diana. Maybe Ben Abernathy will tell. Maybe General Hawk Clayton Abernathy could tell you. Anyway, yeah. So that's those covers. Again, that Ripper one is Jesus Marino and Adriano Lucas again on the explosion background. And again, they're going to look really good all together with all the other ones. And then finally, we've got a schematic blueprint and sort of overshot and a shot on top of the schematic of the Thunder Machine for cover E, which is EJ Sue. And again, another lovely cover. Very cool, especially if you're Thunder Machine fans, which I know a lot of you are in this chat. I am one as well, so there you go. But there you go. There are all the covers for issue 16. Like I said, they're December solicitations. Easy for me to say. For those kind of like the furthest out issues that we know about. And yeah, we've got a little ways to go before we hit that though, obviously we've got, like I said before, we've got issue 12, the shooter sort of Night Force kind of like story, and then what is it? I think that's maybe, is that one issue or two issues? I think it's one issue. Um, but yeah. Anyway, that is pretty much all we know of so far, and all of the new information from this week regarding the Skybound comics. Now, I just wanted to say one more cool thing is that the Battle Action Force Deluxe Treasury Editions, the very books that sponsor this show, are being nominated, have been nominated for awards for the comic scene in 2026. So you can check that out on Total Toy Books socials, on our socials. Go to our Facebook page and just scroll until you find it, or go to Total Toy Books and find it on their Facebook page or whatever their socials, and there will be a link to and instructions on what to do. It's pretty straightforward. You click on the link and you vote for who you want in their respective award sections. Yeah, and obviously I went full force on Battle Action Force. So yeah, let's get these beautiful deluxe treasury editions the I say the plaudits that they deserve. What Brian did on these books is nothing short of outstanding. So I would say, let's get that sorted and let's get that well and truly awarded up in 2026. Right then, that is everything I believe for comics. It's a big comics week this week, which I'm always really happy about because I love talking comics on G.I. Joe. Now, next, we are talking about probably the biggest news of the week, and that is Short-Fuze and Steeler. Now, I made a little bit of a mistake there because it wasn't the next story I was going to talk about, but I've decided to go straight into this to not make anyone confused. We're going to zip back in a sec after talking Short-Fuze and Steeler to talk about some Super 7 news, which I completely forgot was next. In any case, let's talk Short-Fuze and Steeler, shall we? Yes, now these went out on Pulse and Target yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, Friday. At 9 a.m. Eastern, roughly. Let's just get it right. They went up on Pulse for premium members. I think it was 9:09 is when I clocked it. And when I saw people kind of mentioning it, so I think it was 9:09 was the time that it went up on Pulse. So they gave it like 9 or so minutes before they posted it on Pulse. And I think they do that on purpose. I genuinely do think they do that on purpose. It was really annoying though, because I had to get the link from Preternia, because I was on the Target website, and could I find the link manually by searching? Could I fudge? So I saw the posts go up on the Hasbro socials posting about it with 0 links, which is annoying. And then I ended up going, I think it was through a link on an email, I want to say, for the Pulse one. It was a link on something. I don't remember what it was now, but there was a link available at some stage for Pulse. And yeah, the Target one went up earlier, like about 5 past, not 9 on the dot. But yeah, managed to secure them no problem. Pulse had them up for about from 9:09 to about 9:30. They had them. So Pulse was kind of like about a 20-minute period, which I was surprised at because I really thought it would have been like more like 5 minutes. But that was it's annoying because you want it to be up at the time 9, and for the most part when it's not a partner exclusive, they go they kind of go up at the right time. Have you noticed that? If it's a partner exclusive though, it's a minefield. It's anybody's guess what's happening. So yeah, bit of a confusing one, that one, but we did get the links locked in. and posted. There was about 5 minutes before they were out of stock, unfortunately, by the time we put links out. But yeah, Preternia are probably the best source for links regarding pre-orders. They're usually well on it, and it's usually like immediately. So yeah. In any case, no issues getting these, but I, you know, it was really more that kind of stuttery, bumbling part at the beginning where you're not really sure if it's actually going to be there, and then it shows up at, like I said, at 9 minutes past nine. In any case, I hope everyone managed to get them who wanted them, and they're both sold out now. So that's the, I guess that's the aim. I would imagine they'll go up again at some point in both, maybe on Target again for sure. I could see them doing another batch of pre-orders, but we'll try and keep an eye on that, and yeah, and hopefully that does happen. The thing that's been really annoying for a lot of people with Target and Walmart exclusives is this really annoying pattern where it goes up for pre-order, you pre-order it, and then you get to the day of, like them kind of being distributed and shipped and landing in port and getting to Target stores, and they cancel all the orders. Target or Walmart, this is. And then they'll cancel like a bunch of orders because they've obviously oversold, or they need more in for distribution for in-store. I don't know what the problem is there, what the something is not making sense there, is it? Something's not working correctly. And obviously this disconnect means that they're canceling some orders to fill them in store. And it's like, why? Just fill all the pre-orders, and then whatever you have left, you have left. Like, what the hell? It doesn't seem to make much sense to me. And I don't know why it happens, but it just does without fail. So yeah, I've been very fortunate with Target and Walmart recently. I have had in the past issues, but I don't think I've ever had anything cancelled. I don't think I've ever had anything cancelled ever, and I don't understand why my situation is any different from anyone else's, because I see a lot of people having stuff cancelled on Walmart and Target. And it could happen this time. And if it does, then I can join the club. But as of right now, I don't think I've had anything cancelled from Target or Walmart ever. And yeah, it's weird. Jeffrey says it's contracted with Hasbro to have X amount on shelves. That's an interesting point. It's also contracted that they fulfill pre-orders. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but that's also part of that's also part of the agreement. I guess the loophole is if they cancel the pre-orders, they don't have to fulfill them, and they're not technically a fulfilled pre-order. They're not technically a pre-order that needs fulfilling. That's maybe the workaround on that one. But yeah, you can say that they have to have a certain amount on shelves. They also have to fulfill pre-orders as part of the contract. Uh, my first cancellation ever was on Crystal Ball and Walmart, says Michelle Hall. That sucks. Again, I did okay with Crystal Ball, but that not an issue with me. But yeah, again, they do it. It happens. Walmart cancels, Target cancels. I don't understand really why that happens, other than like we're saying here that they need to have a certain amount in store. But that's the thing. You know how many you're getting. You know how many you're getting. And I'm not sure if canceling pre-orders is a way to boost like the hype around something. It really just causes anger more than anything else, doesn't it? But then again, does that feed the FOMO? Does that condition people to get in immediately, to buy it all, to have it sell out immediately? Probably, and that's probably what they're doing. They're trying to cultivate that feeling of you're going to miss out if you don't get this right this second. Anyway, yes, there are Short-Fuze and Steeler. Here are all the images. Of course, I did go into great detail with these on the news burst when the images came out, but we have got an extra image to look at. Not any of these yet. One of the images did not leak on that eBay listing, and we can have a look at that in a little while. But we did notice on this card back that you've got the mass device elements on a little trolley in the background, which is kind of fun. Again, this is one of those things that I kind of mentioned this on the news burst, but I find it very interesting that Short-Fuze and Steeler very much are like very. I'm very aware that they're part of the mass device, right? And it makes sense that they would have sort of mass device stuff in there. And I was wondering if maybe they had planned and had to cost out something extra in this set, like that trolley and energon or energon. What I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? Because it technically that is energon in it from the trolley that they used for. Actually, no, it is mass device elements. They also reused it for energon in that SDCC crossover set. But yeah, a trolley and those like boxes of the mass device elements. I wonder if that was going to be part of this set, and it was going to also be branded mass device, because I think that would have been really cool. But I wonder if maybe not, and they're just doing this to soft connect it to the mass device releases. Because what's interesting to me is Target had, as an exclusive, Breaker mass device branded, um, the Divers mass device branded, and then this 2-pack. So I'm surprised that it isn't also mass device branded. Even if there's no mass device elements in there, why didn't they just stick the mass device logo on it? Because again, it's clearly that's effectively what they're talking about. That's what they're doing here. Do you know what I mean? Like that it's clear that they are part of that particular universe and narrative, and they're all Target exclusives. So it's kind of weird to me that they didn't continue that. Like I know Emily said straight like early on, I think it was it was either Toy Fair or I think it might have been the panel at New York Comic Con, but she mentioned at the time that there were only going to be 3 sets for the mass device, kind of like a little side collection sort of thing, because of the mass device elements, and then each one would have an element part as part of it. I just I don't understand. Like a logo on a box isn't going to change much, so I'm surprised why they didn't just do it and not. You don't have to include the trolley and the extra elements and what have you. You don't have to do that totally, and they may not have planned to do that, but it's fun that they put it in the background. But it really does tie it in to the mass device for me, and yeah, kind of like makes a lot of sense. But it would have made a lot more sense if it physically was actually part of that mass device subset. Anyway, here they are with all their gear, lots of it. It looks like Steeler comes with his helmet with the cool visor, the submachine gun with silencer, the pistol, the 2 knives, and the shovel. And then you get a load of blast effects, which are shared. And the shovel is shared as well, by the looks of things. Then you get Short-Fuze, who clearly comes with the backpack rack for the mortar, and the mortar shell. He also comes with his helmet with that kind of clear visor. Outback, hang on, is it Outback's? It's Outback's rifle in the middle. I forget what the first. I think it's Recondo. Recondo's rifle, Outback's rifle, a pair of glasses, which are annoyingly the pictures taken on the side, which I don't understand. That makes no sense to me. Like, have it from the front or angle it so you can see that they're shades. Weird. And of course, pistol as well, which might also be Recondos or Outbacks. I think it's Outbacks. Either way, they come with a decent amount of gear, don't they? Let's face it, for a 2-pack. What was interesting was the fact that Pulse had this up for what, $62.99, and it was $54.99 on Target before tax and what have you. But wow, like that is. When you kind of expect them to go up in price, especially with all the tariff talk and the prices were going to be going up and all that kind of jazz. But then it shows up on Target at $54.99 and then shows up on Pulse at $62.99. I don't really see it's a bit of a discrepancy that. Maybe it's one of those things where they wanted to do it so that people were more inclined to go with the Target, to buy it from Target. I don't know, really. I really don't know. But either way, you had an option to get one for much cheaper, and I think most people would take that. But the price difference for me there is an odd one, very odd one, because you'd expect it to be across the board. you'd expect it to be, this is going to be the retail price for this, unless it was something they previously had agreed upon, and they couldn't and they didn't want to change it, but they had to change it for themselves. I don't know. That's something that I don't think we might not get an answer for, unfortunately. But yeah. Jal says, after a disgusting in-store experience at Target, the store was a messy disaster. I no longer waste my time with store. Never had a bad experience with Pulse so far. You do whatever works for you, is what I say. We're living in the multiverse now anyway. If you think about it like that, it makes perfect sense, I guess. Let's make OG13 so hard to find. Shark hit me with the link. I might have missed these. Drop days give me panic attacks, says Couchboy. It's Energon on the trolley, mass device on the ground. Maybe RKW. They're the same colors. Or the Weather Dominator series, says Jeffrey. Weather Dominator would be, to kind of brand them as Weather Dominator and do a Weather Dominator kind of like subset. I don't think it would have, just because it didn't come with anything mass related. It would have been fine to do a mass device logo on that box, I think. BET set would be amazing, says PJ Hambo. Yes, it would. The Hunter says general incompetence. That's what happened. White says, what would you have picked for a Cobra related mass device? Everything appeared to be Joe, the exception being the Diver 2-pack. Well, I guess that's what they ended up doing, because everything else is fairly Joe related, isn't it? It's like, Snake Eyes and the Polar Bear, Breaker, just to get Breaker out, I think. And it strikes me as when it comes to exclusives, there's definitely that conversation, isn't it, of what can we do for an exclusive for this particular, for this company. We've had this, we've had that. What makes sense? Who has been in the mass device? Because we've got another mass device with the Divers, and they might have looked and gone, okay, well, we're working on this Breaker. Maybe he was a retro figure. Maybe he's that inactive retro listing. Who knows? That's a possibility. We always did have the listing for that Breaker as a Target listing, though. And for the longest time, we thought it was Tiger Force Breaker, because that was what the theme was at the time. And then when the mass device thing was revealed, it was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, because it's going to be Target exclusive. It's going to be, the Diver 2-pack as well. It makes sense. So it's probably one of those things that's kind of like, it worked out because they were like, well, we were going to do Breaker as a retro figure, and then decided against it, and because he works well to be mass device Target exclusive or whatever. As for Cobra, though, I think you're really just looking at the Divers, aren't you? I'm trying to think of other things that happen in that show, but there's not really much else that's sort of like, and I could be wrong, and I could just be misremembering, but I can't think of anything that would be specifically Cobra and unique enough to do that we don't already have. Maybe like Major Blood. They could have done a Sunbow Blood. I don't know. Chris, with Steeler making his arrival, he joins his fellow Joes Clutch and Rock and Roll. The trifecta is now complete with a memorable comic book quote: "My tank, my Jeep, my motorcycle," says the figure 6-pack. Thank you very much. One whole shell, says Chris G. Yeah, they skimped on the mortar shells, didn't they? Budget cut, says Blitz. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that Snake Eyes and Polar Bear were not Target exclusive, says Terry. Yes, that's another good point. Because that was a Fanmazon, wasn't it? So it wasn't Target, it was mass device related, and still, and because of that, they didn't have to theme it elsewhere with I don't know. It just seemed, that whole thing seems a bit odd. I wonder if all of those mass device figures were supposed to be Target exclusive initially. That was the plan. And then Target dropped one for whatever reason, and they had to kind of pivot. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird when you don't know all the ins and outs, and I kind of wish we did. Boston tax as Blitz for the price increase, I guess. Couchboy says, since Snowcat, I think everyone should come with "This is your brain on drugs" egg skillet. That'd be fun. I wish they'd release all the blast effects they've made for Classified in a single big effects pack, says the Hunter. I mean, they release the same blast effects every single reveal of something, so you only have to buy one of those and you've got them all. But yeah, it would be kind of cool to have like a one of everything in one place. They should have just done that to start with, and not just packed all of the figures out with them. Different prices were weird, says the real Zim. I thought so. Same thing happened with the trouble bubble. That was different, Jason. That was different. That was an error. Well, actually, it's not different because it might be an error this time as well. But the error was on Pulse, wasn't it? Because it shouldn't have been. The error was on the whole thing. They had the wrong price on all of it. They had partner exclusives on Pulse as well as Target, and both places had that lower price point. And it shouldn't have been that lower price point. But then Emily just said, "Well, there you go. You can have it for a bit cheaper." So yeah, it's not necessarily the same thing, but it's sort of semi-related and could be an error, or there could be a reason behind it, is what I'm getting at. There could be an actual physical reason rather than a mistake. Makes Pulse membership seem worthless if they price hike Pulse, says Couchboy. Yeah, it kind of diminishes the savings on shipping, that's for sure. Hasbro Pulse has been getting their prices wrong a lot lately. They have always corrected them, though. I'm not sure about this one, says Josh B. Figure 6-pack Chris with steel. I've done that one. Did I go back one or something? The correct price is Pulses. Expect all Target orders to get cancelled. Oh, that's a good shout, Thanos. Cal says, are there any prices yet on the 2026 2-pack listings? No, not that I'm aware of. Someone was saying that it was similar to the Grunt deal that Target had, just not updated their pricing. Interesting. Will we ever see a cross-verse of Hasbro versus Marvel-verse? I don't know, Jeffrey. That'd be kind of fun, though, with all the multiverse stuff, the Marvel and DC verse. Yeah. It kind of makes more sense with Marvel and DC, doesn't it? But like, you could definitely have like G.I. Joe show up in like a beat 'em up, like a Marvel Capcom sort of vibe. That'd be kind of fun, actually. Yes, Couch. We'll be talking about that in a second. Diver Suit Baroness says Lego Star Wars Kid. Giant Water Robots says New York Night 1974. Hunter says, God, I wish we could get female Cobra Troop builders that weren't Pulse exclusive. Destro and Baroness in diving outfit says Nowhere Manchild. Yeah, there are options, but they're not loads, are they? Yeah, so that was Short-Fuse and Steeler. And I think the other image that we didn't get to see before, gone too far, was, have I gone past it or did I not add it? Oh, it's that one. It's that one on the right-hand side. It's that shot of Short-Fuse with all his gear on, crouching in the weeds. What is he holding? Have I gone mad? Oh, it's the magazine. I was like, what is that in his hand? It's a magazine. He's loading his rifle up. But yeah, that's the one shot on the right hand side that we didn't see that one. So yeah, there you go. That is Short-Fuse und Steeler. Now, next up, I talked about this in the week as well, but it sort of makes sense to separate a little bit. Let's talk Ghost Viper. There you go. Promo images leaked, of course, for not just Short-Fuse and Steeler before it went live, but of the Ghost Viper and all. And I was a little surprised because I kind of thought that the Ghost Viper we were waiting a little bit longer for, and we are clearly. But it's weird to have it. I mean, if it is going to be October, we're still a couple of weeks away from, quite a few weeks away actually from NYCC. What is it, like the 9th of October? So it's like only the 20th of September now. So we've still got a fair amount of time to go before my expected arrival of the Ghost Viper. So maybe it pops up a little sooner. Maybe it does. Anyway, we got these lovely shots of the Ghost Viper. Here's the package. That lovely green. It's like a Christmas special, doesn't it? With the green and the red. We've got the back shot, Kitty said, of the box as well. And I haven't actually, I still haven't zoomed in to see if there's anything like, outstanding on there that I haven't already. Where have I even put these images? Are they even on here anymore? No, they were never on here. So yeah, I still haven't kind of zoomed in on that one to see if there's anything in the background, like a snake armor, for example. Um, it's always a snake armor. So I want to dig in and make sure there isn't something. There's a trash bag by the dumpster, so that's fun. Everything else though doesn't seem to be anything else in the background that I can really see or identify. But it could just be the quality of the image. I think with every single render, they need to put something in the background. I just think every single one. I it it's fun and it really excites me, and it makes me kind of think, oh, that's cool. Something, maybe this is like a hint of something to come, or like, some graffiti that hints at something. A snake armor, that sort of thing. Again, it's in the same narrative as Quick Kick and Beachhead, the two pack, the back of their package, which does show Crystal Ball's crystal ball on the dumpster, which I find quite funny that that's just sitting on the dumpster. Anyway, yeah, some amazing shots for this particular figure, and this again, there's so many different options with this particular figure. So it's going to be an expensive army builder, I can say that much. But I think it's definitely worth getting a couple of these for these options. It's very friggin' sort of what's the character I'm thinking of? Like steampunky when it's in that sort of default mode with that weird, that kind of like that visor head on. This was really interesting. Um, do I think this picture is in NYC? You mean this area? Don't know. I thought it was. My instinct was Japan because of like the signage. But yeah, hard to say. It's yeah, hard to say on that one. Um, but yeah, lots of options for this one. My favorite option being the skull face on the regular visor mask, though. That's just nuts. But like the cobra head, the wolf head, the hands with the little like flowy arms, the fart effects, which apparently they plug into the wrists, they don't plug into the butt, but I will be doing that a lot, I think. um Tronish helmet, yes, it is very Tronish, Jeffrey, for sure. um and yeah, and of course Timber with an alternate head again, and the snake and the backpack and the hose and the rifle and the all the different weapons. There's a lot going on with this one, and it's fun. I like it a lot. Um, it's interesting as well. Like, there's one thing, it's one thing having a repaint. It's another thing having a repaint and a retool, and also an interesting repaint as well. It's not just like just whatever. It's like there's a lot of interesting color choices going on here that I really like. Excuse me. And of course, the kind of translucent green on all of the effects for that dire technology is nuts. Which butt, wolf or viper? Both, Felix, and mainly probably for the dude. It does feel a little bit like a ghost of Timber, Cal, yeah, for sure. I will try that cobra head on Serpentor body. Oh, I bet that looks good. Reminds me of the Doctor Who scientist in the library. Who turned out the lights? Says Nowhere Manchild. Anyway, yes, yeah, it does actually. The fart comes out of the wall, says Couch Boy. Well, it does if you go to that image there. It looks the closest butt to the fart effects. Anyways, completely ridiculous. What are we talking about? Anyway, I like this because it's not only it's a repaint. Yes, there's a lot of retool in this though, and a lot of like doing stuff with doing interesting stuff with older molds, but then also doing retooling, adding some new kind of aspects and elements, and putting it all together and creating something kind of really interesting and fun. And the deco and the tampos and the especially that mask is so dope. And the way that the light hits this is insane. So yeah, I think I know. I think this is a very fun one to have. We get a few of these, and then have Crystal Ball and maybe like four of these guys with all the different options going on. that's going to be pretty rad, I would say. But also, that's expensive getting 4 of those bad boys. Yeah, and it's some beautiful shots again from, I believe, Matt shooting the Galaxy and Corey at Hasbro. Did phenomenal work here. I love this sort of like additional kind of like flash effect, kind of excuse me, insinuating that timber has been created by one of these dire technology rifle type things. But yeah, really, really cool. Love it a lot. Very Ghostbusters, isn't it? It's a bit Ghostbusters. It's a bit, yeah, yeah. It's crazy. I like it. I like the kind of weird stuff in GI Joe. And yeah, the Cobra head is wild as well because it's so big. So like the neck's really really small at the bottom, and then it's just like huge at the top. Yeah, but again, good stuff. And again, with Crystal Ball, I think these will look phenomenal. Now, as well as the Ghost Viper images leaking, as well as Short-Fuze and Steeler, sort of like what's the word? Going up for pre-order. We also had the Legacy Cop posted on BBTS, Entertainment Earth, both of which have sold out already. But yeah, it looks like they're going to be. That's where it's going to be there, and then I guess some of the other stores like Target and Walmart and GameStop in Canada and so on and so forth. So, and probably GameStop in the US as well. So I would expect to see these, maybe if you're lucky at some of the retailers. But yeah, as far as pre-orders for BBTS and Entertainment Earth go, they are both sold out. And this is an image from Hobbybase, because Hobbybase have been posting loads of images of the stuff they've been getting in recently. One of which is the Police ESU, but then they also had CoverGirl and Televiper retro figures, and Flint, Desert Scorpion, Grim Viper wetsuit, mainframe, and sci-fi show up. And usually when Hobbybase get them, they're based in Hong Kong. Then it's a couple of weeks before we start seeing them show up in the US. And what's interesting about that, and again, like we'll keep we know that a lot of these figures have hit shores or at the US ports because we've been reporting on that kind of stuff on a regular. The last thing that came in, we'll be talking about in a second, but prior to that, let me just find it. It was Sci-Fi Grim Viper mainframe wetsuit and the retro bat, which hasn't shown up on any of these images from Hobbybase yet, but we know that all of those are in the US as we speak. So, like I said, when Hobbybase starts showing them off, you can expect it to be a couple of weeks before we start seeing them. I also got I got some notifications today. Slice and Dice has left the building. Monkey Wrench has left the building on his way to me. What's the other one? I think it's just those two at the moment. But yeah, Crazy Pants. And so yeah, I think we'll start seeing these pretty soon, honestly. Realzim says Amazon says Desert Scorpion drops 1023. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything for those people that have pre-ordered elsewhere, does it? Does anyone have any insight into what feels like Hasbro taking longer to ship items after payment? I've had a few things recently that took around a week before they actually left Hasbro. I think it all depends, Bad Wolf Media, on a couple of things. One, the situation regarding the staffing. Now, I would imagine they've probably cut a lot of jobs across the board, including warehouse and those kind of aspects as well, and fulfillment. Or they have another company that does fulfillment, but I would be surprised if that was the case. That said, it all hinges on the volume that is shipping out as well. So sometimes there'll be things that they'll ship out and you'll have them like real quick, and then you'll get charged for something and wait 2 or 3 weeks before it's even left the building. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things you have to deal with in life, where it's not always going to be the same every single time because there's so many factors involved. And it's just do companies have to kind of get hold of those kind of aspects and like refine them and make them better? Absolutely. But it's not always down to just the company. It's down to other companies and other fulfillment services and other shipping options and what have you, and carriers and all that kind of crap. So yeah, I would say that I don't think it's necessarily um, and it's not something that's weird or has never happened. It's always been the case. There's always been like discrepancies between the time periods of stuff being, you know, taken for payment and being shipped out. It's never been like clockwork. There might have been like a period of time where it was like, oh, this is nice and smooth, but then it changes because something changes, like they lay off half the staff or whatever. Slice and Dice is one I'm waiting to ship right now. Chris and my Monkey Wrench got to me last week. Because that's what I mean. It's like, oh, from Amazon though. So yeah, I'm talking about Pulse for me personally. Is there a chance we get a fifth wave before the end of the year? Only revealed, and it wouldn't be a fifth wave in the year. It would be counted as the first bunch of figures next year, Lego Star Wars Kid, if that makes sense. So you'll get maybe the reveal and the pre-order drops at the end of the year, but they would be for in hand going into the next year, and that's what we have on our listings, if that makes sense. So the next batch will be the first batch of 2026 because it's all about in hand rather than revealed for pre-order, if that makes sense. Hasbro ships project product from Romeoville, Illinois. They could cut Chris Cox and save a ton. Could do. They wait until a trailer is full before taking it to DHL to be scanned, says Cal. Rexship says, I got told by Pulse CS today that my charge for Slice and Dice was not finalized because it's taking longer to ship out, but it should recharge and finalize once it ships out, hopefully soon. Fingers crossed. Yeah. The Hunter says, Amazon doesn't charge me until it's actually shipped. Yeah. And White is saying that Bobby B had Desert Scorpion review in hand. He did. He also has Wetsuit as well. So shout out to B's Battlegrounds for posting this cool little turnaround of Wetsuit and a video, full video of the Desert Scorpion in hand as well. So go check that out as well. Lots of crazy in hand stuff, but B gets it like very early. I wonder if he's sitting at the end of the in the factory, sitting at the end of the conveyor belt, just like waiting for the final product to just fall off the end, grabs it, then he runs off and films a review immediately. Lego Star Wars Good says, I hope them moving to Boston doesn't kill G.I. Joe Classified. I don't think it will. If it's going to kill Classified, then it's going to kill a lot of things, not just Classified. The company itself might struggle, honestly, which case everything suffers. Oh, Chris, I wonder if next year's SDCC set might be Mission Brazil. I'm just speculating. Of course, you're just speculating because we have no bloody clue yet. But in terms of Mission Brazil, that would be amazing. I'd love it. I would love it. Because we've got Leatherneck, we've got Mainframe, we've got Dial Tone, we've got Wetsuit. We've got the ability to create Claymore with a Televiper body and just do a new head. And is that it? Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Wetsuit, Dial Tone, Mainframe, Leatherneck, Claymore. Was there another one? I think it was just a 5-pack, wasn't it, in the tape? Cutting Chris would be a circumcision for Hasbro. Do you mean me, Hunter, or do you mean Chris Cox? Just want to be clear on that one. Maximum Warp says he has an uncle in Hong Kong. That makes a lot of sense. Rexship says Bobby B and Shark Eyes are boxing each other out at the factory to get that first review out big time. If it's not Bobby B, it's Alex, isn't it? Yeah, it's crazy. Adam, sorry, Alex. I'm talking about it's Adam or Bobby. My Slice and Dice said left the building Thursday night and got FedEx tracking for Tuesday delivery today. Let it roll. 9044. Brilliant. The price increases will kill Classified before the move does, his X Factors. Well, they're all related though, aren't they? Let's face it. I have no idea of the actual numbers, but I have to imagine G.I. Joe is one of the most profitable action figure lines for Hasbro since they don't have to pay licensing. Yeah, it probably is Bad Wolf Media. It's certainly the most successful currently. I could see Amazon doing a 5-pack like they've done for Marvel Special Mission Brazil. Yeah, that would be fun. Why? All 3 retros came from Amazon yesterday, says Let It Roll. Damn, sweet. Oh, Sparta from the Joe concept was the 5th, but not really official. Well, no, she is official because GI Joe had the license. The club had the license. It's 100% official. But Sparta was replacing one of the other figures because they died, right? Or was she just an exclusive in there? I think she might have just been an exclusive kind of edition. But yeah, because they had to kind of make the what's the word? You have to make up the numbers in a 15 figure box set, don't you? But yeah, I think usually it was like I want to say it was like, yeah, it was a 15 figure box set usually. Yeah, I'd take a Sparta in there too actually if they were going to do a full on um what do you call it? If they're going to do like a full on SDCC exclusive, that'd be freaking amazing to have Sparta in there as well as a six pack. Um, yeah, and you could kind of utilize little bits of Cover Girl there as well, couldn't you? And just give her a new head sculpt and a different deco. Anyway, there you go. Is that? Oh no, yeah. The recent US port arrivals are the green shirt from AKA Retro AN Scratch and Sniff. And one thing before we move on to all the listings and everything, I just want to go back because I didn't miss this story completely earlier. Because I was being an absolute moron. But let's talk very quickly about, if I can do this in time, now that I've lost the page number, a bit of Super 7 news. Sorry, this is going to be a bit all over the place because we're going to go Super 7 and then we're going to go to Classified again. Anyway, Tiger Force Duke has started showing up in Targets now as well. So, yeah, you can probably find him soon. If you haven't found him already, he will probably start showing up in Targets quite often. Images, courtesy of I've completely forgotten. My bad. I will find out, though, right this second. Of course, earlier in the couple of weeks back, we had images. It was TJ Younger gave me the heads up on this one, so thank you, TJ, for these images. And prior to that, we had, yeah, there it is. Yo to the Joe had posted the first kind of images of this particular figure, and like it was funny because a lot of people were going, it looks a bit fake, and it did a little bit, like the art being a little offset from the background effect is a bit weird because that's usually got to follow the figure. So that was a bit of an odd choice. And the fact that Duke comes with a machete, clearly a backpack as well, though you can see that there too, or like Snake Eye's sword, rather than his actual accessories for a Tiger Force Duke figure, it's quite interesting and weird at the same time. But in any case, there he is. He's in Targets for real, so you should be able to find him in your local Targets. He says, knowing fully well it's probably really difficult for the most part. And then yeah, so there we have Tiger Force Duke Reaction Plus showing up in Targets right this second. And now there's not really much else to go into there, was there? But now we can talk about the classified listings. Covered it at the end of the day, didn't I? That's the main thing. Right then, so 2025 hasn't changed, although I did change the spelling of Short-Fuze because it's been S the whole time, and then they bring the figure out and it's got a Z in it. I'm like, what's going on here? So yeah, Short-Fuse and Steeler. That's the only thing I changed on there. I should be green though. Damn it! I knew I wasn't thinking straight. But yeah, that should be green now, and then it just leaves Ghost Viper, Pythona. The police should also be green because it's done. That should also be green. Damn it. Okay, so just imagine that the police ESU and Short-Fuse and Steeler are actually green and not yellow. So that just really leaves the Ghost Viper and Pythona, and then of course whoever Chairface is and that unknown vehicle, which we can't say anything yet, but as soon as we can, we will let you guys know what the hell that is. I imagine it will be one of those things that we have to show after it's been revealed. In any case, so yeah, we're all dying to know what that is. It's not the Pogo, I can tell you that much. And of course, that inactive Ralph T listing, which whatever. Did the police ESU figure go up on a couple sites early? Because it seems like it was just a weird rollout. I think it was done on purpose in a sort of like a low level stealth way. But yeah, BBTS and Entertainment Earth, they got it. They put pre-orders up. They sold out. What can I tell you? That's pretty much it. I don't. It will probably show up elsewhere. Bad Wolf Media over time. It's already been showing up in Canada stores, in GameStops, I believe. So it will probably start showing up in stores as well in US, and you might even be able to get it on like other online retailers, maybe Amazon. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. We don't have a very clear. We don't have clear information about the police officer, but he is out there now, so it's over effectively. Um, and then, of course, 2026, this is all we have currently. Hoping for a few more name-only reveals over New York Comic Con, which is not too far away now, 9th of October. Very excited for that. Still haven't received the press invite yet. So will we be there? Not sure at the moment. I would love to go see the panel and report from the floor sort of thing, maybe do a live in the hotel following, but we'll have to see how it goes. But at the moment, that is a little bit up in the air. Well, worst case scenario, we report from, from the Full Force HQ around the time of the panel and do it then, you know how it is. We'll just have to see how it goes. So as far as 2026 goes, Lifeline, Night Viper, Hit and Run, Big Lob, and Iceberg are unlocked in the retail waves, and Taurus and Red Dog, the 2-pack, and of course Gleep, the Snowcat, unlocked on the exclusive side. As soon as we get any more information, we will let you know. I just said figure 6-pack. We don't know any more about Chairface or the vehicle. I literally said that previously on the other page. We don't have any more updates. That's all we know at the moment. And then, of course, in terms of name-only reveals, officially, it's Lifeline, Hit and Run, Iceberg, Taurus and Red Dog, Big Lob, and the Night Viper. And this has changed, though, because obviously 2 of the digital renders have been removed. Short-Fuze and Steeler and the Police ESU are no longer on the digital renders page because they are out there for purchase. And Pythona and Ghost Viper are the last ones standing. Right, that's everything, I believe, in the regular segment of the news. Let's move into shout-outs, but before we do, let's have a quick word from our sponsor. Yes, the deluxe treasury editions of Battle Action Force are available at totaltoybooks.com in the UK and Europe, and skeletron.com if you're in the US. Go check them out. They're amazing. And also 100% go and vote for them in the Comic Scene Awards of 2026, please. And thank you. When's the next drop? NYCC or Walmart Con? They're over the same weekend, Couch Boy. So there you go. Articulated points. Shout out to Phil and Pat. Pat, of course, my usual co-host, who obviously, since the time change, hasn't been able to join me. So like I said, we're working on it. We'll try and get it fixed. But as of right now, availability is the issue, unfortunately. But I desperately would love Pat on the show again for sure. And shout out to Pat and Phil, and of course to Articulated Points. Go check them out right this second. Link in the description. Codenameiowa.com. Have I missed a bunch of things out? Why is that there? I must have moved it by accident. Shout out to codenameiowa.com, where you can get these wonderful pieces of merch. And also, related to that, Assembly Required, the convention for the 14th and 15th of November. More information has come out. So, of course, we've got the T-shirts went up last week, which we talked about. So you can, these are like kind of like a sneak peek of a couple of the T-shirts that are going up for the show. They're awesome. Bat Repair Tech and Viper window washing. Very cool. As well as that, Larry Harmer is going to be a guest of honor at the show. So if you haven't been able to meet Larry yet and you're a Joe fan, now would be the perfect opportunity in Des Moines, Iowa on the 14th and 15th of November. You can go check out codenameiowa.com and their socials for all of the tickets and everything you need, all the information you need. Go check them out. And there you go. And also Skeletron are going to be at the show as well, with an amazing booth, as they always do. Go check them out as well, please, and thank you. And also, Brian made a very nice post about Skeletron on the show, who do help to make the show a free show for people to attend. So that's also really, really cool. So massive shout out to Skeletron, massive shout out to Brian and Assembly Required and Codename Iowa. And of course, go check out skeletron.com for all of your Robo Skull Mark II needs, please, and thank you. That is everything. That's everything. Any other questions before I bounce? I said it's not the Pogo, so that is an update. Good point, RKW. Miss Pat, he's amazing. He is Couch Boy, and I miss him as well. I hope Walmart doesn't get the Night Viper. It's not a Walmart exclusive, Lego Star Wars Kid. It's a retail wave of 4 listing. So it's not a Walmart exclusive. Who does movie news with you? I forget his name. Justin. But we don't get a lot of news, Couch Boy, with the movie stuff at the moment. But that it goes up and down. So yeah, there'll be. I'm sure there'll be some movie news soon. Pat's busy being a sex bot. Yeah, he is. Thank you, Chris G, for that as well. Anyway, that is that. Thank you very much for joining me, guys, on this episode of the Full Force Weekly. Thank you to all of you guys in the chat for all of the comments and all of the interaction. Always really appreciated. And also to our wonderful patrons on Patreon. I will be speaking to you tomorrow at about around 3 p.m, depending on what happens during the day. But yeah, I'll be speaking to you for the usual Q&A. So that is that. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, you know what to do. 1, 2, 3. Full force. Laters. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos. And as always, you can keep up with the show after listening by following on all of our social platforms, links in the description. And if you would like to contact the show, you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback or questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.